Grab your Help Wanted posters, Wargamers, because today we are going with the wizard, the Great Carletto. He is the survivor of 2 previous delves into the dungeons beneath Castle Meatgrinder. If you're a fan of the channel, and why wouldn't you be, you remember this dungeon here from previous broadcasts. I'm going to go ahead and break with tradition, and I'm just going to show you what's behind doors number 2 and 3 because I got to walk you through the battlefield here. Going to do things a little different rather than do a solo dungeon delve. We've done a number of those already. We're actually going to go ahead and do just kind of a straight 300-point battle. So there you go, door numbers 2 and 3, just a couple of dead-end rooms down there, nothing too fancy. But couple of things to be aware of before Carletto leads his boys in. Now he's searching, let's be honest here, guys. I got through that last fight with 3 apes. I think I deserve a little bit of credit because I didn't make a single Harambe reference. I think we should all be grateful for that. Just really impressed with the level of dedication, seriousness that I take this channel. Anyway, we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4 discs, and those might be a trap and they might not be. One of those is a trap. The other 3 are not. The one with the trap is going to be the frowny face. Whoever moves through it first is going to trigger it. We've got doors this time. See the doors? Different kind of doors. They all have the same effect. In A Song of Golden Darkness, when you reach a door, there are things that happen. Specifically, each of these doors is locked. And in order to bash it down, you have to spend an action, that's 1 activation die, and roll a d6. On a 5 or a 6, it comes down. If you are a big boy, you do it on a 4, 5, or 6. If you've got help, somebody's standing next to you and he's bashing the door down as well, you get a +1. So 2 big boys, they're going to bash it down on a 3 or better. The heroes are all just normal size. Well, that's not really true. Before we get to the heroes, though, I should point out, we got a couple of pieces of rubble over here, and we've got 4 tombstones. Those are all difficult ground. So if you cross over those, your medium movement becomes small. If you move long, you move medium. Also, if you're standing on that when you're fighting, your combat goes down by 1. Doesn't have an effect on your quality, just your combat. We also have a dark altar. Well, take a little closer look there. See? There we go, a couple of candles back there. Obviously the altar is, this is an elevated platform. If you're standing on top of that, fighting somebody that's below you on the steps, +1 to your combat. And the big black, what do you call that? Dark black marble? That can be used as cover, as can the big pots that hold the candles. I think that's it. We're going to start our heroes over there, so let's go ahead. And once again, as usual, I'm going to be swinging this camera all around for whoever's the best angle for where those guys are. I can tell you right now. Well, let's take a look at our villains first. Say hello to my little friends. These are, by the book, ogres. The Brothers Karamazogre, as a matter of fact. And they have a very basic stat line. They got a quality of 4, a combat of 4. They are big, and they use the long move template. I don't know where these 3 bad boys are coming into the dungeon just yet. What we're going to do to surprise ourselves and make ourselves make some choices is they're either going to come in this door or that door. We're going to give the heroes starting over here in the dirt. Once they enter the dungeon, then these guys are going to come in, and it takes 2 actions to appear in the doorway. All right? So they may all 3 come from here, may all 3, 1 and 2. We don't know yet. They might not all come out on the same turn either. That's just to keep things interesting. While I've got the camera set up here, I wanted to show you one more last little thing. This dungeon, when I designed it, I spent a lot of time thinking about how to Jacquet the dungeon. Now, Paul Jacquet, back in 1980, he came up with this way to construct dungeons where you have freedom of choice. You don't want a railroad. You want options. And so when I built this little dungeon. It's not modular at all. So I put a lot of time and thought into how can we do this to make sure that people have choices, but I still wanted some hidden little corners like these rooms over here. So you'll notice that the dungeon has 3 exits, 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of different routes to get from this door back outside. You can go through the big cavern, you can go through the temple cavern, you can go through that one, through these 2, through that one. What that does is it allows us a free reign and a lot of scope. That's why I like doing regular battles in this dungeon. The other thing that I can do, sometimes I use these. In my last dungeon, I said, this is not a door. I put a rubble pile there and said, no, no, no. And that one choice changes the nature of the battle. It forces this room to become a lot more powerful because you can't shortcut through here to get around it. Adds different bottlenecks. This time around, I've added the doors, same thing. They are a speed bump that's going to slow you down and make you think about what you're doing and how to get from one point to another. So, with that said, so thank you, Paul. Good thinking. That's from my Dungeons and Dragons days, but it also applies to wargaming. But if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons right, you are wargaming. So, with that said, let's go take a look at the Great Carletto and his new band of friends, shall we? Turning our attention now to Team Good, you all recognize the Great Carletto. I always want to call him Carletto the Great. His real name is the Great Carletto. Don't mess it up, or he'll turn you into a newt. Now, he went out and, knowing what the floor plan is, he recruited some friends. This is Old Man Beasley. Old Man Beasley is a cleric. He has healing powers, and all of his attacks are lethal against undead. Shouldn't be an issue today. He's also recruited a couple of halflings. This little fella here and this little fella here, they're both irregular miniatures. I want to say Old Man Beasley is Splintered Light. But these irregular miniatures halflings, great little sculpts. The guy on the left is Parkin Shoeless Andrews. I'm just going to call him Parkin, or maybe Shoeless. He is a veteran halfling slinger. He moves short, he's a shooter medium, and he's a good shot. He activates on a 3, combat a 3. Bradshaw, as tall as they get. That's his last name. Halflings like really long names. I don't know what they're compensating for. He is a halfling hero. Bradshaw, as tall as they get, has a short move and the hero, which means he can re-roll 1 attack dice at any point. Activates on a 3, combat skill of 3. And then these fellas out here on the edges are 4 henchmen that are just plain human warriors. Quality 3, combat 3. We're going to call this Vassal, Lusky, Snake 88, and this Roman-looking feller is going to be Filar. There's our heroes. We're going to turn them around and send them into the dungeon. As I said, once they're in the dungeon, the ogres are going to roll for deployment on their turn. On 2 successes, they get to come in through, they get to come in through one of the doors. And then we're going to roll a d6 to randomize which one of those doors they come through. We're going to send Carletto in with Shoeless and Vassal and Lusky through the center chamber, and then we'll send everybody else around this way just to get things started. The great thing about doing it this way is that you have a little bit of time to get used to what all the qualities are for everybody. We'll go ahead, Old Man Beasley and as tall as they get, Bradshaw, as tall as they get, are going to go this way. So this whole crew down here moves on a 3+. So I'm going to roll for the guys in front first, 1 die for each of them. Doesn't really matter at this point. One of them gets to move, and they move at, oh, you know what oh boy, okay. We're going to have to let Bradshaw run to keep up. We're going to roll 1 activation for Old Man Beasley. Oh, I rolled 2 because I'm silly. But that's okay. He got his 1 activation. So he's going to move up and stay just a little bit behind. Roman guy was Filar, okay? And then let's hold off on him. He activates on a 3+, but I really want to get these guys moving too. We're going to roll for Vassal first, and he gets to go, and then a movement with a 4, and then movement for Lusky, who also gets a 4, and they get to move medium. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to kind of get into confined spaces, maybe. And don't tell the health and safety officer. He's going to go. Now, he activates. Carletto only activates on a 4. He's the leader, but man, he has the hardest time activating. So we're just going to move him once. Whoops. Sorry there, Vassal. And he gets to move medium. We'll go ahead and bring him around this way. And now we come to our short stacks. They move short. So we're going to try to move twice for shoeless. And I need a good place to roll where I won't hurt anyone. And he activates on a 3+. Is that right? Shoeless on a 3? Yeah, both our halflings activate on a 3. And then since he's our last guy, we're going to go ahead and try 3 activations with him. And oh no! Bradshaw only gets 1 and the order kicks over. Except that, you know what, the order was going to kick over anyway. So we have 3 ogres. They're all the same. They all activate on a 4. They need 2 successes, we said, to come in. So we're going to roll 2 dice for the first one. And he does manage to come on the board. So 1, 2, 3, and a 4, 5, 6, he comes in over there. So 4, 5, 6, he is not wasting any time. He's going to appear in the doorway. This second one does not appear. This might be a problem. And the third one, of course, we'll roll 3 dice because he also does not come on. All right, so we got our first ogre on the board. Play kicks over to the heroes, and this time around we're going to go ahead and because we want to open things up a little bit here. Let me slide on over. Here's the first of our ogres. Here are our heroes. Now it's time to think about how to get stuck in and how to arrange this. We've got our 4 guys over here. I think we're going to take it a little bit easy, and we're going to start with Phil R., who's going to activate once, and he's not. We're going to activate the guy in the back here. We're going to try twice with him, and he gets 2 activations. So he's going to crowd ahead once to there, and once to here, and he's got to stop right there. Then we have the old man is going to roll for 2 activations. Now he activates, old man Beasley activates on a 2+. So he can come up 1 and 2 to right there. He's kind of hiding. I think you can see him right there. And then we're going to try to activate these guys. So over here we're going to roll for Vassal. Activates. Lusky does not. So Vassal is just going to kind of slide up over here. And then we have to think about what our order is for these guys. Our wizard is going to try 1 activation. He only activates on a 4+, and on a 2, he does not. And now we got to worry about our halflings who activate on a 3+, but they're very slow. So let's try to bring him up first with 2 activations. And 2 activations is going to put him, well, he's a slinger too. But let's go ahead and bring him up to the 4. And we'll count on them being able to get back ahead of him. And then we might as well, he's the last to activate, is as tall as they get, is going to roll for 2 activations. So he's going to trundle his way on up to stand shoulder to shoulder with Snake 88. If those names sound weird or familiar, it's because they're people that have commented on my boards. That's it for Team Good. Next up, the Brothers Karamazogre. Might be worth pointing out that the good guys have 375 points, the bad guys only have 225, so it's actually maybe not a fair fight. First thing we're going to do is try to activate the this ogre brother, and we need to roll 4, 5, or 6. We're going to roll 2. We're going to roll 2 dice. So only 1 activation leaves him off. We're going to activate this guy. Just roll 1 die, and on a 3 he does nothing. And then we got to bring in his buddy, and with 2 successes he comes in. The question becomes, where does he come in? 1, 2, or 3, 4, 5, or 6. So he comes in right next to him. And Now, they might be in trouble. They are, ooh, do they pull back? Does everybody pull back to the entrance? I don't think so. First thing we're going to do is move this guy. One activation. So he moves a medium. He's going to run up and get ahead of our veteran slinger. We'll move this guy. He also does not activate. We'll move the Great Carletto, who activates and moves medium. Now, running up and down those steps, let's go ahead and call those steps rough terrain so that he can get to there, but he can only move short. And I think that's, we'll go ahead and try for 2 with the short round. And only get 1 activation. That's all right. We'll bring him up here. I still think we're going to get 1 ogre coming out down this hallway. It'd be nice to have some backup over there. Maybe bash that door down to send a couple of other guys in. But for now, we're going to start. We want to kind of bring him in, but let's clear a little bit more space. Let's start with him. And he's going to, oh, by the way, as tall as they get, good old Parker there, or Bradshaw, I keep calling him Parker. He's Bradshaw. He's going to have to make 2 actions to get over this because he already moved short. That's why we're going to start by trying to activate the swordman twice. Oh, and with nothing. That might actually be a good thing because we're going to roll for this first ogre, activates, and he's just going to run up. The second ogre activates, and he's going to go the other direction. So remember, they move long distance. So he can run all the way up to here. And he can run, now, because he's got to clamber over that pile, he's actually going to go pay a little visit to these guys over here. And that's it, except we want to try to bring that third one on, and with 1 activation, he's not coming on just yet. Let's go ahead and do something a little nutty. We're going to start by firing off. We're going to try to activate Bradshaw twice. And with 2 activations, he can take an aimed shot. He's already, oh no, he can't. He's not a shooter. What am I doing? Okay, so that was probably a mistake. In his 2 actions, all he can do is close. Yeah, that was a huge mistake, unless he wants to run away, but I'm just not that kind of gamer. So, since that's all he can do, we're going to have to bring him up, and I think to try and make an attack. So, Snake 88, I'm going to try 3 actions. Ooh and yah. Now, he can only move short because of that darn pile. So that, well, yeah, so that he does not have enough distance. He's shy by about 2 millimeters. But he does have a second move, and he does get an attack. So, the good news is he attacks at a 3, and because of the help, this ogre also attacks at a 3, as usual. We're going to roll a red and a green die. The green is for the good guys, red is for the bad guys. 3 and 3, and that's going to be a 9 versus a 6. And that's going to push him back. Because the, oh no, that's going to knock him down. Because the winning die was even, he goes down. I don't know how much good that's going to do. Oh, it might do some real good. We're going to take 3 actions with Old Man Beasley. He only gets 2 actions. So let's see if he can reach Mr. Ogre by climbing over. I'm going to stand him back up just so we can measure this. And so if we go short, it puts him right there. Oh, I don't know if he can make it. I don't know if he can reach him. I'm going to let fate decide whether Old Man Beasley gets an attack. On a 1, 2, 3, he's a little too far away and has to spend both actions getting stuck in. On a 4, 5, 6... yeah, so he does his 2 moves. So now we've got a 3-on-1, and they're not going to be able to kick him in the ding-ding when he's down, unfortunately. The last thing we'll go ahead and do is, on this side, let's go ahead and roll 2 actions for, come on, filler. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So medium move takes him to there, and then a short move is going to take him right up to here. And he's not, now I should point out this trap is, well, if it's between this, so when you cross that line, that's when the trap is triggered. So he's standing guard just to make sure he doesn't come over. But we're not done with the good guys yet. The good guys still have to come over here. So we're going to start with him. He's going to try to take 2 actions. He's only going to get 1. That is enough to get him up to here. You can't see him because he's hiding behind the wall here, but he is there. Let's move him next. 2 actions. So he's going to take 1 action to hit the door, to get to the door, and a 2nd action to try to bash it down on a 4, 5, or 6. So the door goes bye-bye, but it does waste an action for him to get there. And that does open up a clear line of sight from our slinger to our ogre. Going to try to take 2 actions with him, and we're going to get nothing. So play kicks over to the ogres. We're going to start here. 2 actions. Nothing doing. He stays down, and play kicks over to Team Good. We got to try to end him. And we're going to have, who's our best fighter? It's going to be, let's try this guy first. He gets 2 actions. So, he's fighting at a 5. He's fighting at -1 for the power attack, because he's attacking with 2 actions. So he's at -1, -2, -3 because he's ganged up. He's got a +1, he's got a +5. This ogre is going down. This is going to be over so quickly. So what did I say? That's a 10 and a 5. That's a doubling, and he's dead. But, plot twist, this isn't just an ogre. He's a werewolf ogre, and this is what he looks like in his were form. Rawr. So, it turns out this battle is between Were-ogres who are worth 125 points apiece. That's 375 per team, which makes it a fair fight. And now, it looks like our heroes are in a lot more trouble than they anticipated. Because, now the good news is the werewolf is still outnumbered 2-1. The bad news is that means it's up to Old Man Beasley. Activates on a 2+. He gets 2 actions, so he's going to take his attack. And in this case, the werewolf attacks, activates it on a 3+. He attacks at a 4. And with 2 actions, he's going to be fighting at a -3. So he's going to be fighting at a 1, and he is going to be fighting at a 3. 9 versus 7. That knocks the werewolf down, and we still have 1 attack. We better go ahead and roll for our little hero here. All 3 dice. He gets 2 actions is the best you can do. He's going to be attacking at a 5 versus a 1. So 9 versus 6. And that is a lethal blow, and that werewolf is dead. So, boy, that was really scary, wasn't it? That's it for this side. Not only that, but we have to move these guys still, and we're going to go ahead and start with old Shoeless Joe Halfling back there is going to take 2 shots and get him. So he's targeting this guy, and because he's a good shot, he's at +1. He's at +1 for shooting at a big boy, and so he's at +2. So it's going to be a 5 versus a 4. And a 10 versus an 8 means that he gets pushed back 1 base width. I don't think things are as grim as you might expect. We are going to go ahead and move him. We're going to roll 2 dice to see if he activates. And he only gets 1 action. So we'll bring him up through pretty much right here in the door. And then he also gets to activate. And before we do, let's go ahead and roll for 1 for the Great Carletto. He can move medium going down the steps to here. And then we have 1 last move on the part of this guy. And, you know, all I'm going to do in this case is I get 3 actions. Lusky, what are you doing? Where are you going? 1, 2, 3, you're attacking him alone? Are you crazy? No, he's just brave. So it's a 3 versus a 4. And he gets knocked down. So yeah, that might have been a mistake. We're going to end the video right here. We've been going for about a half an hour. It's been a fun adventure so far. They're very much in the lead, but things are going to get really tight. When we come back in 2 days, we're going to pick up the action with the Brothers Karamazogre. They used to be triplets. Now they're only twins, and they are also Were-ogres. So that's going to be a problem as well. You don't have to kill one guy. You got to kill him in both forms. See you in 2 days. And in those 2 days, I'm praying for you.